Hello everyone, Dinop the Dino here. A while ago, RGF10 asked me to do a video on Ark Survival Evolved. I replied saying I'd be more tempted to do a rant against it, rather than a gameplay video. However, a video on Ark has always been in the back of my mind by making other videos on the channel. Now, with the release of Ark Extinction, and finding out that there had not been many other videos discussing Ark's inaccuracies, I decided to give my own take on the inaccuracies of Ark Survival Evolved. Now, in no way is this video meant to criticize Ark and where it's a fictional game, however it is meant to inform and correct some misconceptions. So, Ark Survival Evolved is something that is much more popular with gamers than dinosaur fans, I would say. It's a survival game, as heard in the name, which involves dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures. It takes place on an alien world where time has no meaning, which allows creatures from different eras in Earth's history to meet along with humans. The first creature we'll be examining is the Attractor. Now, the Attractor is missing feathers in some very key areas. If we compare it to Prehistoric Kingdoms model, a game which aims to go for realism, it's losing feathers in places such as the neck, the thighs, the tail, and the overall body. Now, I will cut the developer some slack here, because feathers are very hard to animate, along with fat, flesh, and tissue. However, the pronated wrists are no excuse, as we can see comparing to Prehistoric Kingdoms model, where they have the correct depiction of theropod wrists, where they are straight and flat, instead of these crooked hands. So I would say the overall posture as well as the look of the creature, is too similar to those of Jurassic Park's. For example, if I remove the feathers, you can pretty well see that it's basically the Jurassic World raptor in Ark. It's not much difference, especially with the posture of the head being raised across the body, whereas Prehistoric Kingdom's representation goes for a more level approach, which I do prefer as well. So in conclusion, Ark's Utahaptor, it's a nice attempt, but it really does need some improvements to get up to 2018 standards, or 2019 actually. So the next creature we have is the Pteranodon. Now, first thing I would point out is the beak. You can't see this from my image here, but if we look at the dossier, which is a sort of field guide every Ark creature has, you can see the Pteranodon's skull has small peg teeth on them. Now, the name Pteranodon translates to toothless wing. As you can see, or at least put together, Pteranodon is not meant to have teeth. It's a toothless animal. So that's our first inaccuracy right there. Secondly, is it's got this weird sail fin thing on top of its head, which doesn't exist. If you can see, it's sort of like two pieces, a fin. So if we remove that, that's more accurate. But even then, we can see terrible representations here. For example, the wing. It's too similar to that of a bat. Whereas if I show you a more accurate model of the Pteranodon, it's got a more furry, sort of elegant wing, not some kind of 1900s monster. Also, on the skin, it's kind of naked and gnarly for Ark's depiction, whereas the accurate representation would have a more feathered, fur, soft feel. So overall as well, the creature, compared to the variety you can hopefully see on this image, is way too big. A human to a Pteranodon would be, wingspan-wise, massive, yes, but overall the creature is not that much bigger, ignoring the wings, than a human. Also, one point I would like to make is that people would not be able to ride Pteranodons. They are way too light. Sorry to crush any dreams out there. Another inaccuracy is that in Ark, and most media I would say, Pteranodon can pick up people. In reality, Pteranodon could not pick up people, or any other creatures for that matter. So to conclude, I would say Pteranodon is probably the most inaccurate creature on our list today. And it really needs way more new features, and probably a whole model overall to correct its inaccuracies. Next up, we have Dilophosaurus. Dilophosaurus's main inaccuracy, I would say, starts with the frill. Now, as you can probably tell, the frill is copied from the Jurassic Park's model, which is also inaccurate. where in reality Dilophosaurus did not have frill or venom, which also has an arc, as anyone who's played Ark will know that Dilophosaurus venom is very, very annoying. All of these are inaccurate, and they were taken from Jurassic Park's original model, and the media has basically used this model for every single game, film, or show I've ever seen for Dilophosaurus. Also, another point to add is in Jurassic Park and in Ark, Dilophosaurus is very small compared to people, where in reality this is incorrect. Dilophosaurus was just over the size of a man. So to conclude for Dilophosaurus, I would say that yes, it has its inaccuracies, but they're basically Jurassic Parks. And I think the main reason it has these inaccuracies is just for nostalgia. Next up we have Titanosaurus. Now Titanosaurus' big feature, and it's just one big feature I would say, is its size. As you can see, the T.rex and Giganotosaurus in this model is immensely massive. To tell you its massive size, it's about 125 meters wide. That's about 19 African elephants standing next to each other, give or take an elephant. Now, Titanosaurus is actually not a dinosaur. It is a group of dinosaurs, sauropods that is, and probably the most famous of them is the Argentinosaurus. Argentinosaurus was also thought to be the largest animal to ever walk the earth, I think, to today's standards. Now, Argentinosaurus was 32 meters long. Comparing that to Titanosaurus, you can see it is way out of proportion. It is too big, way too big, and I'm pretty sure that no animal could scientifically ever grow to be that large and exist as a species. Also, as a side note, these weird spike things it has, totally inaccurate. So, Titanosaurus' main big problem relies on its massive size, which downscaled would make a lot more sense. Moving on, we have the Spinosaurus, a famous creature, and also another famous thing about it, its debated posture, which Ark also gets wrong. Now, Spinosaurus is believed to be the largest known carnivore ever found so far, dinosaur that is, compared with Carcharodontosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and T.rex here. Spinosaurus first appeared in the media in Jurassic Park 3's as an antagonist. Then, around 2014, the old Jurassic Park 3 bipedal stance was corrected with a more quadrupedal idea of Spinosaurus. Scientists also believe that it spent more of its time in water than on land. However, this was soon to be disproved as well, as recently paleontologists and scientists believe that Spinosaurus was bipedal, but it had stubby legs. It wouldn't really be that adapted to running on land and still spend most of its time in water. As you can see here, with its sort of smaller hind legs compared to its forelimbs. Now, Ark Spinosaurus comes around here in the timeline, around 2014-2015. As you can see, it's pretty accurate to the 2014 model, with its forelimbs. However, I would say it's a bit bulkier in places, but understandable to make it more fierce on land as well as sea. Now, though it's accurate for 2014, bring up to 2018, it's not that great. As you can see here, it's got a completely quadrupedal stance. As we mentioned earlier, paleontologists now believe Spinosaurus was bipedal, but with just short legs. So overall, the Spinosaurus is pretty accurate more around the place. However, updated, it needs to be a little more stubbier and a little less like a lion galloping around the place. Now, our last creature, and definitely not the least, is the T-rex. First thing with T-rex is probably its most famous feature, its tiny arms. Like the Utahraptor, T-rex's arms in Ark are way too stubby and way too pronated. And the other point, which is probably the most controversial point I'm going to discuss today, is T-rex's lack of feathers. Now, whether T-rex was scaly or whether it was feathered has been the most debated topic in paleontology in the last 10 years. It still gets debated today. One day it's scales, one day it's feathers. It's really confusing. Now, Saurian is a game like Prehistoric Kingdom, which aims to be the world's most accurate dinosaur simulator. Saurian takes place in Hell Creek, or formation, which you might have noticed, involves T.rex. Now, Saurian's T.rex recently was feathered. However, they have decided to update their model to a scaly version. Now, I'm going to stick with Saurian and say that they're right. Saurian is a game which dedicates for the most accurate simulator ever. And if you read all the blog, which I will have and will link to this video, the team have really put a lot of effort, and I think that their effort can be shown through their passion. So I'm going to go and also believe that T-Rex should be scaly. So luckily for ARK, they have dodged a bullet here, and T-Rex, yes, was meant to be scaly, not feathered. However, it doesn't excuse their terrible scale of representations. As you can see here, their Rex has some sort of ridge and bumps everywhere like the Titanosaur. Whereas if you compare it to Saurian's T-Rex, it's got much more of a smooth, scaly skin. Also, T-Rex in the new updated model has its belly more closer to the ground, like Spinosaurus for that matter, whereas ARK's T-Rex is sort of upright and its legs are towering across. Also, the posture, ARK's T-Rex is much more narrow, while Saurian's T-Rex is much more longer. And I guess that concludes T-Rex. Overall, it does require sort of changes here and there, but the main thing where it has scale and feathers, I guess, dodges the bullet there. So just a couple changes here and there, ARK, and you should be good to go. So that was a short list, but I guess that concludes today's ARK inaccuracy video. I know there are way more creatures that I haven't discussed here, that if you'd like to see more, please do tell me in the comments below. I may do a sequel, or any other videos regarding ARK, or any other prehistoric creatures. And until then, thank you for watching. Do like, subscribe, share, and bye-bye.